state building.
It's Z100, New York's #1 hit music station. I am Josh Martinez with my guest right now, Adassa. Am I right? Right, Adassa?
Perfecto, te salió excelente. Absolutely.
So before we got on, we were talking about there. I heard so many different ways of saying your name, and I'm like, wait a second, because she is Latina, and I see the ADA, it's got to be Adassa rather than Adassa, as other people have said. So, Latinos got to stick together. You know what I mean? That's the point of the story.
It's that white A.
So you've been in the game. You've been in the game for a little bit. Obviously, you're part of the biggest song on planet Earth right now with We Don't Talk About Bruno. What has your life been specifically over the last 2 months with that song?
It's been incredible. We've been doing so much promotion, so many radio interviews, a lot of press. I mean, Washington Post, New York Times, Variety. It's been intense. And you know what it is? It's the fact that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote a song that just gravitates. It unites people. And when you look at TikTok and the insanity that is going there, it's amazing chaos. Like so many people singing the songs, doing cosplays, doing dances. I go down the rabbit hole of TikTok and I'm there for like 3 hours and I'm just like laughing. I'm trying to do these dances that people are coming up with. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this. This is so much. And it's because people feel identified with so many characters within the songs that they're like, I'm Isabela. No, I'm Camilo. I'm Dolores. Like they feel that. And the people have made this song what it has become, which has broken so many records. Imagine 3 times now on the Hot 100s, #1.
And by the way, knocking off Adele, not just anyone could knock off Adele.
Hello, goodbye.
So,
I'm sorry, Adele. I love you though. I love you, girl.
Going to the song, Lin-Manuel Miranda was quoted in saying, every family has the stuff you're allowed to talk about at the dinner table and the stuff that you're not going to talk about, not in front of mom or not in front of abuela. And I saw that as like, that is the most Boricua thing I've ever heard in my life. And then, but as you said, it goes beyond Latinos and Hispanics into just life where like people, the song's been translated over 40 times, I believe as well.
Yes.
What's been like the, oh my God, this is really happening moment for you so far?
I think every single moment of every single day has something. Like the kids' school called me if I would go to give a talk to the kids about being in Encanto. That was like, okay, this is really happening right now. Like, and then getting calls to do Comic-Cons. And I had never done Comic-Cons before. I mean, I've done concerts, I did the Madison Square Garden, American Airlines Arena. I never gone to Comic-Con. I'm so excited because, you get to be with the people, you sign autographs, you take pictures, you get to see people dressed up. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the Dolores. So my first one is in San Antonio on March 12th and 13th. Then we're going to Washington. We're going to be hitting Virginia. We're going to be going to Knoxville. So it's so exciting. And then at the same time, listening to the song, the kids, just like they know every piece of the lyric. You're 4 years old. You barely know how to read and you know the whole rap. It's like, what is going on right now? It's amazing.
It's absolutely been a whirlwind. I mean, the fact that the song is getting radio airplay consistently, not no one-off, because we know the kids are in the car. Like this is just regular airplay in between Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran and Billie Eilish. It's you. It's the crew from We Don't Talk About Bruno. But you did mention Madison Square Garden, American Airlines Arena, other things. Because like I said before, you've been in the game for a while. Tell us a little bit about your music career so far up to this point.
Well, I mean, I was with Universal Latino. They gave me a chance when, Afro Latinos being signed to a major record deal since Celia Cruz, that really hadn't happened. And Walter Com, which is the manager to Maluma, who is in this movie as well. He was the one that took a chance on me being the VP at Universal. And they were the ones that really gave me the opportunity to launch out and have a career and do things with Pitbull and Ciara and Missy Elliott and travel the world. So I'm forever grateful for them taking a chance on somebody who said, hey, by the way, I'm going to do reggaeton, being a Colombian, and I'm going to be bilingual too. What's up? And they're like, let's do it. They actually believed in it. And now I'm coming out with more music with Warner Chappell Production Music. I'm coming out with a record that is like 90% in English, 10% Spanish. And then right now I have my own #1 on the Tejano international genre, which is with, it's called Ni Un Beso, and it's with CHR and our label Sky Urbano. And so to have Ni Un Beso on a Tejano chart, the Tejano Gold Countdown right now, and at the same time having #1 with we don't talk about Bruno 3 weeks running, like, and then be nominated for the Academy Awards. Best animated film, best score. Jermaine Franco just knocked it out the park. And Dos Oruguitas, the heart and soul of this film being recognized. Lin-Manuel's first song. Mira, si ese tipo quisiera, I'm going to fly a plane tomorrow, and he'd be like the best pilot ever, because first song en español, and he knocked it out the park. Incredible.
He's definitely a living legend, definitely an icon. And this isn't his first venture into Disney. He wrote songs for Moana as well. What was the audition process like for you with this specific movie?
Well, for starters, they were the ones that reached out to me, because honestly, getting into the Disney sphere is hard enough to crack. Where's the window, you know? They actually got a hold of me through my YouTube channel. It was through a song called Porque ella no yo, háblame claro, dime por qué acabó. You know, it was like this soft and rap, and we did it. We threw it out there, had like 300 views. But Grace Kim, which is the casting director's assistant, contacted us, and we auditioned for Jamie Sparrow Roberts, which was the casting director for Moana and Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen and Raya and the Last Dragon. So it was them that really gave me the opportunity. She forever will be like my fairy godmother, that she found me and she made me into a princess. Like I feel like that, you know. She gave me the opportunity to do this and to be a part of an amazing cast. And from there, I had my call back with the directors, and when I recorded with Lin-Manuel, it was a dream come true to see him do something like In the Heights, and then, you know, starting up with, and then Hamilton. Come on. The way that he has allowed us to take center stage for showing our diversity, our culture, and now Disney doing it in such a way that shows the variety, inaccuracy of who we are, all sitting at the table, being principal characters, and we're all equals because we're all family. It's truly just a magical moment in time in which so many people will have the mic. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing so many talented people out there finally having their day in the sun.
No, and I think you brought up a tremendous point about basically our time to shine, you know, with Hispanics, Latinos in general. And I think that Lin-Manuel Miranda has opened so many doors. And you mentioned kind of working with him. What was your favorite aspect about working with the whole film altogether, whether it was recording or voice acting and maybe post-production stuff?
Being able to be silly and getting to know them all, and understanding that you are allowed to be vulnerable and be able to be playful. Like, you could be 5 years old again. I was jumping in my booth, and this is the actual booth I recorded in right here in my home. And I was jumping and I was flaring, and they're like, "You're falling down the mountain. This is what's happening right now." So it was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Abuela, are you okay? You know, being intimate and being vulnerable and feeling like I need to cry and being okay with that. They make such a safe space for your creativity, and then they allow you to be playful. Like, I'm going to throw this line up there. You can use it or not. And they're like, cool, you know? And it never felt like you were rushed. It never felt like, okay, time's up. We need to move to the next person, you know? No, it always felt like you were just hanging out with a group of incredible people that make magic happen.
What would you say was the movie was being done, some parts of it during COVID, I'm assuming. What would you say was kind of the toughest, whether it was like I said, post-production or something, where like COVID definitely slowed things down for you?
It changed things. I wouldn't say it slowed it down, because of the fact that we were not going into the studio, then there are multiple sets of people that could be recording at the same time, because you're not taking up a booth time. But it does take away from feeling the tangible essence of being with people. Like, you know, when they did Frozen, they were in the same room, like practicing together and like doing their lines. And in the booth, you're seeing, you know, oh my goodness, she's standing right there. He's standing right there. You know, Kristen Bell's right there. Like, you know, Josh Gad's right there. So I was looking forward to having that moment when you're with the directors and they're telling you right in front of your face and you're feeling that warmth. So that's the thing we missed out on. And I honestly hope one day when everything opens up, we can all meet like a family at the big old production House of Mouse and be like, okay, we're gonna fake it like we recorded in here. Hello, it's this thing on. You know, I would love it.
So you do, before you mentioned the Academy Awards as well. Do you plan on attending? Do you plan on maybe staying home and making it a more intimate thing with family and friends? What's your plan for that specific night?
I got my bags packed. I'm ready. No, señor, tú sabes que ese boleto ya me lo compré. ¿Qué es eso? I am ready.
Go, we good.
But and I'll be in New York too. I got to go do press and stuff. I'm doing the Tamron Hall show. So I'll be in New York on March 15th. So NYC, here I come.
Love it. Now, you, like I said before, you mentioned New York City, American Airlines Arena. We talked about working with everything. You did mention something before that kind of caught my ear a little bit. You mentioned getting into the reggaeton music scene. Now, this is the early 2000s when reggaeton was at its highest, but there weren't many females in the game at that time. What was your, I guess, I don't want to say worry, but or concern trying to break in when it was a very male-dominated genre at the time?
It made it difficult because being male dominated, and then because there's not a lot of females to have your back, you know, Evie Queen was there, I was there, and I went on tour with Daddy Yankee. So you have to be strong. And honestly, some days I would feel so vulnerable because I was like, man, and I know I'm the Colombian one here because, you know, encima that said that being a woman, being Colombian, because I'm 100% Colombian. I can't even fake it that I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in St. Croix next to Puerto Rico. So that's how I felt all that because, you know, Daddy Yankee, all that. You get that from the Virgin Islands, you know? But I'm like, soy 100%, mi mamá de Barranquilla, mi papá de Cartagena. But this is the music that I feel. Soy Latina. Like, I want to do this music. So being accepted, that was hard. And Universal made that happen. They really had my back. But being in that industry, you have to grow a pair. I'm sorry, you really do. You got to get that thick skin. And there were times where I would be crying. And one night I remember en particular, they were having Los Premios Lo Nuestro, and they were giving an award to Olga Tañón. And she came barefoot and she walked over to me and me dijo, Adasa, listen to me. And I was like, I love you so much, Olga Tañón. No, she's like, listen to me. She was like, she saw how weak I was and she let me have it that day. And I really had to sit back. And for a couple of years, it took me a while to understand what she told me in those days. And unfortunately, I cannot share, but it changed my life because I understood if I want this, it has to be breathing for me. And I understood if I breathe, I'm never going to stop breathing just because I'm not getting heard or not getting played or not getting paid what I was expecting to. I do it because I love it. And the moment I started loving what I did, no matter what the consequence, no matter who was listening, no matter how many people were supporting me or not supporting me, then I enjoyed it. And the more I enjoyed it, the more I was like, do you feel this music right now? Let's have a party, man. And el speaker and the whatever and la cocina. I grabbed the mic, let's do it. And that's when I started changing into understanding that just because you're not popular or just because you don't have a gazillion Instagram followers doesn't mean you need to stop doing what you love. And I started falling in love with music, and now I'm in love with acting. So I hope I get many more roles to be able to just enjoy and just let myself breathe what I love to do.
Now, you mentioned that Olga Tañón gave you incredible advice. What would your advice be now that you've been in the game? You've seen a lot. You've seen it close to all, right? What would your advice be to the next wave, next generation of up-and-coming artists, regardless of genre?
If you haven't seen it happen before, it doesn't mean that you can be the first one to do it. Because there was always that one person that broke the record of how fast he ran the mile. So you can be that person. Don't let yourself be guided by those things that people have done prior to you or are doing right now. You can come with your own sound, with your own version, your own interpretation of a character, of a song, of your own writing style. Believe me, there is a place for you. And there is craving in the society that we live in right now for something different. Don't be afraid of embracing who you are and your difference and your uniqueness and letting everyone hear it and see it and appreciate it.
Now, I love that. On a personal level, I'm actually the first Latino on Z100, which is the biggest radio station on planet Earth. And one of the things my brother told me when I got that job, it was something along the lines of like, it wasn't possible till it was, right? And that stayed with me. Because it's like, yeah, now I'm taking the responsibility of opening doors for more Latinos to come into the radio station. And you're doing the same as well. Obviously, you know, whether it's because people know you as Dolores or as the artist that opened up for Daddy Yankee and Pitbull or whatever, worked with Pitbull, whatever the situation may be. I think it's so important for people to hear that, that don't let what you see in front of you continue to guide your thought process.
Exactly. You're there to show them that it can be done. I'm here to show you it can be done. My daughter's there to show you it can be done. All of us are here to prove that there are people out there that are supporting our talents. You got this job because they saw what you had and said, I need you here. I need you here. Only you can do what you do. And that's what everybody else has to know for themselves. The first person that needs to believe in you is you. Nobody else is going to convince you of how good you are. You have to know it. You have to say, I'm good. And you're going to know it because I'm going to show you how good I am. Don't even pay me. Watch me. And then you're going to want me. That's it.
I love that. Now, before we wrap things up, let's go back to the biggest song on planet Earth. Like I said, we don't talk about Bruno. What made you, maybe aside from the number one and beating out on Adele and flying up the charts, what was that moment where you realized, oh, this song is taking off?
I think the moment was the first week that it stayed on the 200s. And then I started seeing the cosplayers. And then I started seeing that more people were doing it and singing the song. And I was like, wait a second. And the moment it hit radio, we were all like, what? Like, this is radio's playing the song? And it's really because every single one of us gave the performance based on being guided by a genius. Lin-Manuel made that writing happen, and he hears within ourselves what we can bring to the table. He saw the talent, our ability, and he honed in on what each one of us had as individuals. And I feel that that's what people see. Like, they feel themselves reflected, like, oh, if I had that verse, I would have done it like that, or that song, or that's me. I'm Isabela. I'm the one that is always feeling pressure to be perfect, or I'm Camilo. I'm still figuring myself out. Like, I'm Dolores, that I feel like I have so much to give, but I'm only doing what I'm asked to. I know so much, but all of that, they feel so connected, and that's what he does. He writes music in which you can feel connected, identified, and feel rooted in.
What is before we wrap this up, what is the one thing that you want people to know about you? And then what's one thing you want people to know about the cast of Encanto?
We want nothing but the success of all of you out there. We are just people who got our moment right now, but we know what we've done here has been for everyone out there. So this is your chance to shine. Take it. Take that audition, try it out. Don't be afraid of being rejected, because one rejection is 50 other doors that are going to open up for you. You learn, you grow, you continue. So for me, it's changed my life. It's brought me closure to a dream that I had since I watched The Little Mermaid when I was 9 years old in 1989, and Jodie Benson sang "Part of Your World," and it happened. And it took me 20 years to get here. So don't expect it to be overnight. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't. But if you're doing what you love, never stop. And we all believe in you as a cast. It is your time to shine. We got to shine. You can shine too.
Love it. One more time, Adasa, thank you so much for giving us time.
From the top of the Empire State Building.